Well, I've got it. I've got it. You've got it. You've got it. Everyone on this planet has it. It's the power, the invisible power. And it's the same power that keeps the stars in the heavens, the planets in their orbits, and all life held firmly on planet Earth, just by the wonderful law of gravity. Just imagine that. This very same power that keeps the world turning is the indwelling, invisible power awaiting our direction. It is a power responsible or responsive to our thoughts and our spoken words, and it is poised, ready to fulfill our every wish in every moment of time. So if this invisible power is available to all, why is there so much conflict and unhappiness in the world today? Is it because there are so many people in the world who just don't believe in the spiritual life? They prefer to go their own way, using their own will, instead of aligning themselves with God's will for all good? Well, I think perhaps that just may be the answer. In our quote by Charles Fillmore this morning, we are told we must believe in the reality of the omnipresent spiritual life, and we must exercise our faith by invoking in prayer the presence of the invisible but omnipresent God. So to get this invisible power working successfully for us, first we must just believe. Believe with a total inner conviction that we are each an individualised expression of God. Therefore we have all the powers and inherencies of God indwelling. And they're just waiting to lead us into our God-ordained purpose in life. You know, believing this truth, we must then turn inward, and with the prayer of faith and belief, align ourselves and all our actions with the indwelling divine presence, the omnipresent Creator God, which brought us all into being. By aligning ourselves with the truth of our own being, it follows that we must act in accordance with our indwelling truth. We must act with integrity at all times. The truth was known many centuries ago. It is the eternal wisdom made known in ancient times. Jesus knew it. He said, "Be not afraid, only believe. Go thy way, and as thou hast believed, so be it done unto thee. And in all things, whatsoever ye shall ask in prayer, believing, ye shall receive." So praying and believing will bring positive results. And if it doesn't bring positive results, we must develop a self-awareness to discover what we are allowing to dim our own inner light. What are we putting first in front of God? St. Paul, explaining God to the Athenians, said, "In him we live and move and have our being." So even then, it was also known of the oneness of all life. St. Paul knew it, and after his conversion to Christianity, he preached the truth of spiritual oneness for the rest of his life. We are all immersed in God, God consciousness, one mind, one spirit, one wholeness of being. We live and move immersed in the eternal power of the Holy Spirit. There's no way we can separate ourselves from it. The invisible power flows around us. It expresses through us. It animates us and fills us with divine intelligence. So why are we not making better use of it to build a world of joy, of harmony, of love and givingness. It seems that much of humankind prefers to live selfishly, always saying, oh, I, me, mine, instead of saying us, yours, ours. We only have to watch the daily news to see that in many cases the urge for personal profit outweighs the urge for spiritual oneness. Even the scientist looking for the God particle seems to have no awareness that he himself is the God particle, so full of invisible power that he could solve all the mysteries of the cosmos if he would only turn inward and let his very own God's self guide him into all the answers of the questions arising from his very scientific intellect. For the answers are all there, just waiting to be unveiled. I always smile when I read of scientists endeavouring to unravel the mystery of empty space. What mystery? There's no such thing as empty space. What appears to be empty is teeming with invisible movement, whirling atoms of spirit-filled life which form the substance of the entire universe. The space between this lectern and everybody here appears to be empty, but millions of invisible atoms are whirling through the air. They are pouring around us and into each one of us and filling every inch of what appears to be empty space. But this seemingly empty space is spirit-filled, and we will all be able to see these whirling atoms when we have our mystical moments of spiritual grace. Usually when we are deep in meditation, so turn inward at every opportunity, and you will learn the secrets of the universe. God is always talking to us. We just have to listen. Of course, there are scientists who have awakened to the truth of being. When I first found the truth principles all those many years ago, I was thrilled to read that the great scientists Albert Einstein and Sir James Jeans had both come to the conclusion that the universe was just one great thought. So they also knew that we are all immersed in the one mind, the one consciousness of the Creator who brought us all into being. Albert Einstein wrote in his article, Cosmic Religion, and I quote, "I see a pattern, but my imagination cannot picture the maker of that pattern. I see the clock, but I cannot envisage the clockmaker. The human mind is unable to conceive of the 4 dimensions. So how can it conceive of a God before whom 1,000 years and 1,000 dimensions are as one?" So, unquote. So although Einstein called himself an agnostic because he separated himself from the organised religions of the day, he realised there must be a creator because of the intelligent patterns in the universe. But a creator that the human mind, just in its present state, cannot envisage. Many present-day scientists now assert that there is an underlying intelligence directing all energy and all matter. Stephen C. Meyer, the geophysicist who became a director and senior fellow at the Centre for Science and Culture at the Discovery Institute in Seattle, he said in an interview, and I quote again, "The attempt to explain the origin of life solely from chemical constituents is effectively dead now. Naturalism cannot answer the fundamental problems of how to get from matter and energy to biological function without the infusion of information from an intelligence." Unquote. Mayer is a member of the group of scientists who have recently brought about the movement called intelligent design. They talk about the irreducible complexity of the workings of the universe and the obvious intelligence behind all the seemingly random happenings that keep the universe growing and expanding. Such intelligence tells us there must be a creator who existed long before the Big Bang that created the universe. The Big Bang that exploded at just the right force. Not too little and not too much, just the right force to allow life to emerge and grow. And we are all born of that intelligence, so we are infused with that invisible power right now. Isn't that an amazing thought? The very soul of each of us is imbued with such spiritual power that we are always unconsciously attracting that which is good for us and repelling that which is bad for us. It's all regulated by our own indwelling sense of what we perceive to be right or wrong thinking. Our inward thought character manifests our outer circumstances and attracts what is needed for our inner growth. So we must always keep our thoughts on that which is good and true and beautiful, to attract to us only that which is uplifting and helpful. You know, way back in 1969, I was living in Sydney with my husband and my baby son in the beautiful suburb of Melbourne. The Melbourne Municipal Library was housed in a most impressive Federation-style house, and I spent a lot of time up there wheeling my baby around. And I quickly read my way through the spirituality section. One day I was walking through the library and wondering what to read next when a book suddenly fell out of a lower shelf and landed with great force at my feet. It was almost as if it had jumped out, and I was bewildered because the shelves were tilted backward and they had a rail built in front of them to stop them falling out. So how did it happen? How could it fall out with such force? But I was thrilled when I picked it up and I looked at the title, and it was Memories, Dreams and Reflections, a book about the life of Carl Gustav Jung, the great psychoanalyst, the very book that I had long promised to myself to read, but I just never got around to it. I had read a lot about Jungian psychology and promised myself that one day I would give it serious attention, and here was the very book I needed to read. Well, it was a wonderful read, and I found myself saying yes, 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 all the way through it. But what was the power that brought it to my feet? It was the invisible, indwelling spiritual power in me that we all have, and which will bring us all the longings of our heart, if we only believe in it. Of course, this power is working in us at all times. Our thoughts influence the elements, the very elements around us, without us ever being aware of it. But it is our strong belief which will manifest our thoughts much more quickly. Our thoughts have great power. We don't realise this. Our thoughts build our personal world. Think miserable thoughts and we'll attract miserable conditions. Think happy thoughts and we will find ourselves in a happy place. And our spoken words also have great power. The prophet Isaiah tells us, "So shall my word be that goeth forth out of my mouth. It shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereunto I have sent it." So we must use the power of our thoughts and spoken words wisely, by aligning them with all that is good and truthful. And integrity is the word here. We must live with integrity. But it always amazes me. I have read many articles putting forth the truth principles, but few of them emphasise that for the truth principles to work, we must act from our own indwelling God-given truth. Even that wonderful DVD, The Secret, was full of techniques to make these principles work, but not one word was said about the need to act always with integrity for them to work correctly. I think this is a great oversight, and that acting from our own truth, our own consciousness, should always be emphasised in all the truth principle writings. You know, all the intangibles of life arise from the invisible. All that's good arises from the invisible. Love, peace, wisdom, joy, knowledge, prosperity are all there just waiting for us to go into the silence, to claim them as our own divine inheritance. We cannot just take a piece of love, wrap it up in gift paper and give it to someone. It is intangible, like all the good things in life. It arises from the invisible, and it is the greatest power on earth. It is the holy glue that binds all of us here together, connects our soul forces, and joins us all in loving unity to rise to the spiritual heights that God has already ordained for every one of us. So turn inward at every opportunity. Go into the silence and meditate. Meditate upon loving kindness and loving oneness. Then just sit and listen for God's divine intelligence to gently lead you into your life's purpose. May God bless you all.